All right. Barakatayawa, Barakatayawa Shai, Barakatayawa, Barakatayawa Shai, Call Halayim Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Arachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone who taught us the truth. Honors and salutations to the elect and to the men that died doing the work of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, because the shall of us first. To the men, women, and children that believe on the true name of the Father and the Son, which the Father's name is Yahweh, he exists. The Son's name is Yahweh Shai, he is the deliverer, because he's come to deliver us to this captivity that we're in. My name is Mark Oliver and Gab and Yasharala, the Church of Philadelphia camp. We're in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Once again, come back at you with another one. And as the title says, woe to you that have lost patience, man. And the reason why I want to touch on this topic is I was talking to a guy that, last week after camp, when I bumped into him. This guy, he knows that he's an Israelite. He used to walk around with the T-shirt, fringes on and all that. He used to get on him about his long hair, bring up scriptures, and I just started seeing him wax worse and worse, man. But I kind of always felt like this guy was off anyway. But one statement he said, man, I was talking to him, he's like, man, I said, yo, you gotta trust in the Lord, bro. Just this, that, and the third. But I know this message is only for the elect, so everybody ain't gonna get it. Everybody ain't gonna have the patience of the elect, man. But this man looked me in my eyes. He was smoking a cigarette. I never knew this man to smoke cigarettes, but now just how I know he lost it, And he was like, it's not working. It ain't working. So you think you lost patience, man? Because what you mean it ain't working? The Lord, everything that you're seeing, all the prophecies being fulfilled. And he said it ain't working. He don't even understand it. He's a part of prophecy being fulfilled by him, not by him losing patience. I'm not going to say the dude's name. I'm just doing a lesson because, I was like, wow. And I'm starting to see even them dudes, Genesis, what that doctrine, bro said he took the bag, but they lost patience too. If they once was teaching the truth, now all of a sudden you're teaching this madness that all nations can make it. You lost patience. So guess what? The Lord is not dealing with you. The Lord is going to spew you out of his mouth, man. All right. So this is Ecclesiasticus, Sirach, chapter 2, verse 14, which is the title of this lesson. It says, matter of fact, you know what? Let's start at verse 10. All right. This is Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, chapter 2, starting at verse 10. It says, look at the generations of old. Now you see this? This is important. Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua and was confounded? All right. So like that man said, he said it was not working. Obviously, he didn't look at the generation of old. Look at all the captivities that we've been in. Look at all the captivities that the Lord has let us out of. And this is a captivity that we're in. So he promised us that we will be taken out of this captivity and we will be given the kingdom under the rulership of Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, and Malak Dawad, and the elect. That's what he meant, And it's clearly you could tell by generation to generation, history to our history, We never we've never been in a captivity forever. We always had a period of time we was in captivity, just like we're in this captivity for a period of time. All right, America's what? As of this year, it turned 250 years old. So this kingdom is running out, man. All right, if you look it up, a kingdom really only lasts about 250 years or so. All right, let's go back. Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, verse 10. It says, look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon his name, man? So the Lord, this is for the elect, man. They're the ones that's going to do it. You got to believe. And then you're going to see the men that really didn't believe from the beginning because they're starting to unravel. They're losing it, because the prophecies are being fulfilled. They're constantly rolling, but all things are a part of prophecy, man. All right, all things are a part of prophecy. That's the spirit of Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy, man. No matter what part you fall into that category of prophecy, man. You know, whether you be one to be made of an example out of, or you be the one for salvation. You know, that's up to him. But we still got to do what we have to do, and you got to stay patient. Patient means what? To suffer, man. You know, that's like that saying on when I put used for a thumbnail. It said impatient. Somebody says patient gets results. If you be patient, you're going to get the results that the Lord intends, man. Check it out. Verse 11 it says, "For Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is full of compassion and mercy, long suffering and very pitiful, and forgiveth sins and saveth in time of affliction." You got to remember that, man. You know, so people start bugging out and all that. You like, yo, they never had faith in the Lord. They didn't believe in His mercy and His compassion. They want to. They feel like the Lord that the Lord just left him, turn his back on him, which He did turn his back on us, and rightfully so, because we turned our back on Him. So they figured, oh, I'm gonna just turn back to Him for a little bit, this, that, and if it doesn't work, then I'm going back in the world. That's crazy. That means you lost patience, and woe unto you, because woe is destruction, man. All right. Verse 12 it says, "Woe be to fearful hearts and faint hands, and the sinner that goeth two ways." God damn, that means you double-minded. You know, the sinner that goes two ways. You don't have a proper foundation, man. What's that proper foundation is Yahweh shot, man. You know, it says, verse 13, back in Ecclesiasticus 2 and 13, it says, "Woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not." You see that? That's the point. Woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not. Therefore shall he not be defended. All right. So if you get faint-hearted, you believe not, you're not going to be defended in the up and coming calamities that Yahweh Shem Shah has planned for this place. All right. Verse 14. It says, "Woe unto you that have lost patience, and what will you do when Yahweh Shem Shah shall visit you?" You know, what you going to do when the Hawkamanian run wild on you? But the Lord, what are you going to do when the Lord visits you, man? Because you lost patience. Read that again. Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, verse 14. "Woe unto you that have lost patience. And what will you do when Yahweh Shem Shah shall visit you?" Right? It says, "They that fear Yahweh Shem Shah will not disobey His word, and they that love Him will keep His ways." All right? I'm going to keep His ways. You know? Not because when you lose patience, you're like, oh, forget it. Because you can get frustrated. You know, the Lord tells you, be angry and sin not. All right? But you're going to see a lot of people get frustrated and lose their religion, lose their patience, and get destroyed. Fall out. We're in that time, man. All right? It says, verse 16. It says, "They that fear Yahweh Shem Shah will seek that which is well, pleasing unto Him, and they that love Him shall be filled with the law. They that fear Yahweh Shem Shah will prepare their hearts and humble their souls in His sight, saying, we will fall into the hands of Yahweh Shem Shah and not into the hands of men. For as His majesty is, so is His mercy." All right. And that's heavy right there, man. So as majesty is, so is His mercy, man. All right. So the Lord has mercy on His men that really love Him, and He knows who they are, man. You know, the Lord is always shifting the house of Israel, as you can see. Since I've been in, I've seen a lot of come, I've seen a lot of go, seen a lot of folly, man. You know, I've seen a lot, man, in his walk. You know, and it's only supposed to strengthen you and humble you even more, because I've seen men that's great teachers fall out, man. You know, because they lost that patience. They back in the world. You would have thought they never knew the truth when you see these niggas now, man. And that's what they are, niggas. You treat them like heathens now, man. You know? That's why you can't lose your patience, because the Lord can destroy you. He'll destroy your mind. And when He destroys your mind, that's crazy. You can have all types of crazy thoughts, man. He's tormenting you, man. You know, people going back like dogs returning to their vomit because the prophecies ain't happening in their time. You know, it ain't in your time period. You know, just like when we was walking through the wilderness, you know, when we was freed from Egypt, ancient Egypt, we got freed from there. And it was a period of time when we were slaves in Egypt. We didn't think that we was ever going to be freed from there, man. But it was spoken of. And you have history and see the notes in the history of it, the records of it. All right. So you know that we were delivered from there. That was an exodus, man, being exited out of that place, and all the history and what you say, uh, when you leave behind something, um, evidence. That's it. That was the word. All the evidence that was left behind. So that should be a faith booster when you're thinking about this place going down, the same like how it's going down. You better think about Egypt. Better think about Rome. Better think about Greece. All them places, Babylon. The Persians, Medio Persia, the Persians. You know, all them places that came up and fell. All right, and this is the last one right here. All right, so let's go here to Proverbs chapter 14 and 29. All right, because it's easy to get angry and lose it, and that's as I said, like you lost your patience. You lose your patience, you could lose a lot. You could lose your spot, if you have one. But you can't lose a spot if the Lord ain't give it to you from the beginning. All right. But it says Proverbs chapter 14 and 29, it says, he that is slow to wrath is of great understanding. Damn. He that is slow to wrath is of great understanding. But he that is hasty of spirit exalteth folly. All right. So you want to, this prophecy ain't happening fast enough. I'm going back in the world. You ain't doing nothing but hurting yourself, man. All right. You ain't doing nothing but hurting yourself. It would be better for you just to wait for the Lord. Now that's the ultimate right there. Waiting on the Lord, man. He created us, and everything that he does is for his glory. All right. So you gotta have that patience to be delivered, man. All right, so let's read that again. He that is slow to wrath is of great understanding. And is not the Lord slow to wrath, man? He could have wiped this place out again if he wanted to. He could wipe it out right now completely and clear the slate. But he gave his word. And guess what? Through him giving his word, he has patience to let all the prophecies that he said is gonna play out. He can't jump the gun, you know. So if you understand that, it says he that is slow to wrath, so you won't get so angry. Because when there's up and coming times, man, you're gonna see a lot that's gonna have people bugging out. People gonna get angry. They're just gonna lose it, want to wild out, crash out, man. But you have to have that patience. Because did you see what they got out here? ICE and all that. They got the sword just waiting for you to crash out. And they're setting it up so easily for you to do that. That's why it says, woe to you that have lost patience. Let's read this again, Proverbs 14 and 29. He that is slow to wrath is of great understanding, but he that is hasty of spirit exalteth folly. All right. Matter of fact, let's get that in the NLT real quick. Because the NLT, that's my baby right there. Sometimes you go off a little bit, but you gotta, with the NLT, yeah, that's tough. So let's go ahead. Proverbs, what was that? Proverbs chapter 14, 29. Oh, Salaka. Proverbs chapter 14 and verse 29. Where we at? It says, people with understanding control their anger. A hot temper shows great foolishness. And matter of fact, you know what? I was just watching the documentary because it's about the time. This is getting close to the time here in Philadelphia where in the early 2000s, it was called the Lex Street Massacre, where over there in West Philly, somebody ran up in the house. Two men, I think it was 4 men, ran up in the house and killed 7 people. It was 10 altogether, but 7 people got killed. A couple people wounded. So the three got wounded, but one man, he survived completely because he when he got shot, he faked like he died. But those men lost patience, and what it can kind of find out, that whole situation was over a car sale, man. Them dudes, they lost it over a car. They crashed out. Now look at them, they got life. So just imagine how much more when the up and coming things come in this time period. You can't crash out. You gotta have that patience and wait on the Lord. Because a lot of men, I'm telling you, a lot of men is about to crash out and lose it because they never believed And the Lord could, and that's a demon on them. That's the spirit that hopped on them, you know, and deceiving them. Because the Lord, the words of the Lord are faithful and true. So let's go ahead to Romans chapter 12 and 12. All right, I'm gonna read this in the NLT. It says, "Rejoice in our confident hope. Be patient in trouble, and keep on praying." You see that? Rejoice, and it's the NLT. Rejoice in our confidence and our confident hope. Be patient in trouble and keep on praying. And the reason why a lot of people are going to crash out and lose it because you're not praying. You know, that's one of the major things you're supposed to do as an Israelite man is pray to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai B'Shem Arachakodash, because does not the book of Baruch tell you being returned to him, seek him 10 times more. You know, and it also tells us to pray without ceasing, man. We were all sinners, man. And we was deep in it before we came into this truth. All right. So being returned to him, you better keep praying. Constantly pray, man. You know, if you crash out, you wasn't praying from the beginning. You was faking the moves, man. You know, but the Lord knows that. You're supposed to pray every single day, man. Pray for the elect. Pray for the downfalls of your enemies, man. Pray for salvation. You know, that's things to pray for. Pray for a righteous kingdom to come. All right, because this place is toast. And just because what you see in front of you is not going to be here forever, man. It's falling right in front of your eyes. All right, so let's go here to Romans chapter. We're going to go to the 8th chapter. Staying in the book of Romans chapter 8 and verse 25. All right, what we got here? What's the future? I'm just reading right to the point. This is matter of fact, I'm starting verse 24. Romans 8 and 24 says, "We were given this hope when we were saved." All right, coming back into this truth is nobody saved. If we already have something, we do not need to hope for it. See that? If we already have something, we don't need to hope for it. All right, and that's what I said, just because we're hoping for the kingdom, we're hoping to be in rulership, which we are. All right, but that's what you hope for. You can't see it right now, but it's coming. All right, be patient and wait for it. All right, verse 25, it says, "But if we look forward to something we don't yet have, we must wait patiently and confidently." All right, read that again. "But if we look forward to something we don't yet have, we must wait patiently and confidently, man." And confidence is you know, it's not prideful, you know. You're comfortable with yourself, you know. You're comfortable with being patient. You're comfortable with this this yoke that the Lord has given us, man. You know, you got to endure it. All right. And a lot of people, they only going to endure but so far. You know, that's why the Lord said, "He that endures to the end, the same shall be saved," man. So you got to endure to the end. Can't be crashing out, you know, going back into the world like a dog returned to his own vomit, man. And I'm saying this, I'm talking to myself as well, you know, because I'm not exempt from none of this, man. I'm a man just like any other man, you know, and that's what brothers got to realize. We're all men in the flesh hoping for salvation, man. All right, so I'm going to read this one more time. Romans chapter 8 and 25 in the NLT. It says, "But if we look forward to something we don't yet have, we must wait patiently and confidently." And you go into the word patience. Patience is to suffer, man. All right. So let's go ahead to Galatians chapter 6 and 9. And I'm going to read all this in the NLT. It's the book of Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. It says, "So let's not get tired of doing what is good." See that? So let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessings if we don't give up, man. See that? Read that again. This is a reward for being patient, man. Waiting on Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai B'Shem Harachaha. All right. It says, Galatians 6 and 9 in the NLT, it says, so let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, you see, the Lord is precise. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessings if we don't give up, man. And that's what Yahweh Shai knows, man. He knew that. That's what he teaches us, man. All right. Wait on his Father. He always said, wait on the Father, man. Trust Yahweh. Trust Yahweh. Trust Yahweh. That's what he told us. Trust Yahweh just like he does. You know, you gotta do the same thing. All right. And if you're confident in that and comfortable with that, you ain't going to crash out. But the Lord has to put that spirit on you because it's only up to him to give you that. All right. So this is Psalms chapter 37 and 7 in the NLT. It says, be still in the presence of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai and wait patiently for him to act. See that? And wait patiently for him to act, not yourself, for him to act. Does the scriptures say what? Vengeance is his. All right. He's coming back to do all things. He's giving his son the power to come back to deliver his elect, you know, and take out the rest of these kingdoms. All right. It says, don't worry about evil people who prosper or fret about their wicked schemes. Oh, man. And that's why a lot of people are going to crash out, because they think that the wicked is not being taken down when they don't have the spiritual eye to see that the Lord is actually taking them down right in front of their face. But the Lord allowed that demon to hop on them, you know, for them to lose that patience, man. All right. I'm going to read this again. It's a bad one, man. Psalms chapter 37 and 7. It says, be still in the presence of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai and wait patiently for him to act. Don't worry about evil people who prosper or fret about their wicked schemes. Stop being angry. Turn from your rage. Do not lose your temper. It only leads to harm. God damn. Said it only leads to harm. Yeah, because you can harm yourself. You know? You think you're hurting somebody else, but you're hurting yourself. And that's when I was a kid, I used to think like, I'll be like, man, if my mom's sadistic, I ain't doing that. Because I couldn't be patient. You know? I was a child. I thought as a child. You know? But I used to just be like, man. But at the end of the day, it wasn't hurting her. It was hurting me. You know? And that's one thing I learned. Just the last scripture, this is Psalms chapter 27 and 13. It says, yet I am confident I will see Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai's goodness while I am here in the land of the living. That's patience, man. It's confidence. Yet I am confident I will see Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai's goodness while I am here in the land of the living. Verse 14. Wait patiently for Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. Be brave and courageous. Yes, wait patiently for Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. B'Hashem HaKodash. You know, so now everything's going on. You know, you can't lose your patience, man. You know, you lose your patience, you could be taken out the game and taken right into the spirit world, man. You know, just like those people with the stamps and everything when they was cut off, and everybody they was losing their patience. Oh, you cutting off our stamps? We just going to run in the stores and all that. You know, that's people losing patience. And guess what? They got something waiting for you when you run in them stores, man. That's why I use it what it say. Trust in Yahweh, B'Hashem Yahushai, B'Hashem HaKodash. So Lord's willing, this video was edifying. You know, to the next lesson, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, B'Hashem Yahushai, B'Hashem HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone, who taught us the truth, honor, citations to the elect. To the next lesson, I'm saying Mawafa Babu Ball and Kwame Asharala. Shalom. Stay patient.